construction, and then she said, one day I wondered what it would look like looking from the inside of a jail cell. So I changed my career, and she went back, got her master's in whatever, management, something. And then she went, we ready?
Mayor,
And then we went up.
Mayor
and
Croft.
then she went to work for one government
Hello,
agency.
testing.
Another one. And,
Most of those that they hire from outside don't last long because they don't realize what it is. District Ranger is a very political job. That's why Beth got out.
well, we kind of broke her in, I think, yesterday.
You did ask her some good questions.
Yes.
Yeah, you got political and the Fed's taking
Mayor.
50%.
Okay, we're on.
Just a couple of seconds. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We're born ready.
Mayor, the video's not working, so, but we'll be on audio, so.
Oh, okay. Video's not
Even
working.
more boring than.
Okay, you're ready.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for your attention this morning. Sorry for the delay. We're having technical issues, so I understand we're not on video. We're just on audio, which for those of you at home, I know that's probably the best thing you could have this morning for me. So we'll have a moment of silence, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me. Pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll have a roll call, please, Mr. Ron.
Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Salas,
Here.
Councilor Lutterman,
Here.
Councilor Eby,
Here.
Councilor Cornelius,
Here.
Councilor Coughlin,
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a few agenda items, and I want to remind everybody, this is the Village of Ruidoso workshop meeting, August 3rd, 2021. It is after 8 o'clock. This is where we just have some open discussion on the items that will be on the agenda for next Tuesday. That action will be taken. So there's no action can be taken today. Item number 1 is discussion on Resolution 2021-37, a resolution approving an agreement setting forth the terms and conditions of active membership in the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District Council of Governments.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, this is the annual resolution and agreement with the COG. We do this on an annual basis, and this provides service from Dora and her staff at the COG. And I'll stand for any questions on this. So.
Okay, that's pretty. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mayor, after reading all the information on this, and I would say that at our action meeting next week that we name who's serving and taking action on it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Currently, it's myself and who's the backup?
Tim is.
Tim is?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor Crawford is the member, and Tim is the alternate. So.
And if somebody has some time that would like to, because it does take a little bit of time, there's a tremendous amount of documentation that you get sent all the time. So we could see, I know I do it and Tim does it. Is it just traditional that the mayor does it?
Yes.
No, okay.
Yeah, unless you appoint somebody else. No.
Okay. So we may discuss that or something, because with the other thing, and then I'm supposed to be taking, it's not official yet. Can I even tell anybody? Yeah, I guess I can.
Any opposition, so.
Oh, I don't have any opposition, so I got elected again. That seems to be my trademark. I run for office, nobody runs against me.
There you go. They're scared.
No, yeah, that's it. They're like too smart.
They're smarter.
Yeah, they're smarter than I am. New Mexico Municipal League Secretary. I'm going to be the Secretary Treasurer, correct? Treasurer. So then that'll take some more time, but I keep adding, and I need to.
You need to start shaving some.
Saving a little bit off. So we'll talk to Mayor Pro Tem or anybody else that wants to spend some time on that. we can visit.
I'm over in Roswell all the time anyways.
Because it needs somebody to really pay attention to it. The meetings will be starting back up in person. Has a lot of good information that really, I have to pawn off on Ron and Tim a lot of times to get all that, so we'll discuss that. So you want to, we'll put that on discussion item?
On regular
item?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2, discussion on Resolution 2021-38, a resolution authorizing authorizing the execution and delivery of a water project fund loan grant agreement by and between the New Mexico Finance Authority, NMFA, and the Village of Ruidoso borrower in the amount of $1,115,000. And this one is Judy.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mayor, Council. As you recall, in November of 2020, we did pass Resolution 2020-39, which authorized staff to submit an application to the Water Trust Board for our Brown and Fault Wall project. The total cost of the project was $1,115,000. We were successful in obtaining grant/loan financing vehicle. So we will be receiving funding that is broken out between a 55% loan, which is $613,250, and a 45% grant in the amount of $501,750. As you recall, this total project was originally going to be paid out 100% out of SGRT, but we were able to get some monies in the amount of the grant. So at the end of this project, we will actually take the residual SGRT funds and we will pay off the loan. So we won't incur any debt. This is just the way Water Trust Board finances projects unless you're eligible for the 100% grant. So we actually are saving the $500,000, and those funds will be able to be used on another water project. So
That's nice.
I would take any questions at this time.
Does anybody have any questions?
It's a good plan.
And
Great.
read over the agreement, and I guess it all makes sense.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to make a comment if it's okay with you.
Go ahead.
As Eric did an excellent job on this grant application and readiness process. I just want to point that out, that it takes, to apply for the Water Trust Board money and position, it takes time to, get a lot of different things in place, planning and whatnot. And Eric's done an excellent job on that. There's some of the aspects of it that we need to continue moving forward with, the rate study, the asset management plan, all those type of things, so we can continue to be prepared to apply for future grants and whatnot. But there's several different categories. And once you get into the process, that money is available to you on an annual basis, as long as you have that readiness, ready to go, the watershed. And then there's other types of funding that the Finance Authority under the Water Trust Board has available. So, AJ did make a comment to me. He does sit on the Finance Authority Board, and he's impressed with the work that's being done here in Ruidoso. He gets to see everybody's audits and whatnot, and he expressed that to me.
Yeah.
And Ron, we're up in Roswell, so, I just want to applaud Eric for his efforts.
Yeah, he did a good job. And AJ's the director of the New Mexico Municipal League.
And Judy and Karen working with him as well.
Okay, we like that.
Yeah, thank you.
So do we want to put that on regular?
I think so.
Yeah,
Talk
that
about
would
it.
be good, yeah.
Is it me or is it getting sticky in here? Seems like it's getting warm. Item number 3 is discussion on agreement with Zach Cook LLC for professional services as general counsel for the Village of Ruidoso. I know we had postponed this one to do some more deliberating. So give us a skinny on where we're at, Ron Sena.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, this revised agreement, professional services contract with Zach Cook, it's based on, we have the basic legal services. have a scope of work listed on the actual contract, and those will be a set monthly fee. I think Zach has another name for it, was not a base rate, but a flat fee. And then also included on this, on the compensation, is additional outside of the basic legal services with a task order. Directors, elected officials, et cetera, will, by task order, will be presented to Zach. At that point, he will be charging his hourly rate for anything additional that's on the basic legal services.
Special assignments.
Yes, it might be like if he needs to work on a tax, for example, anything with, say, a tax law that we want him to do litigation on, some additional research, et cetera, and then he would bill us on his hourly rate, and that'd be through a task order.
Okay.
And the 150,000 includes the flat fee plus all of those extra task orders. It's a cap for the year.
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Coughlin, we have the set fee on a monthly basis, and then that's the budgeted amount is the 150.
And that covers the A through M stuff.
Right, all the rest.
And then on special assignments, when we have whatever, that we have to go down a rabbit hole on, and we,
Is that correct?
that's what the rabbit hole fee charges.
Got it.
We got 11.
So, I'm sorry, I've got another question. Typically, when we have contracts, we have legal review the contracts. Are we having somebody else review these contracts?
No, I have not.
Since it's a conflict, if Zach reviews his own contract?
Manager, do you have any comment on that comment? He wanted to know, since Zach is our legal representative and we have all contracts reviewed by legal, if we have anyone else review this contract.
No, Mayor, we didn't, but we can prior to next week's meeting if you'd like us to. This template is one that's been used in other contracts as well, but we can have a legal review done by Clinton or that we have available to us.
Just to remain consistent, that it's probably a good thing.
But Mayor, I was I apologize, but I thought the amount we agreed on for basic service was 11,000 a month.
Yes, that's.
It says
yes,
it in there.
Yes.
Because he said 150.
That's what I believe that was budgeted for on the actual budget portion of it on the line item.
So the basic services is just 132.
Yes.
And then anything above that would be a
Yes.
task order.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay, so, you got to explain it, because down in the body, it says 11. Compensation A,
Right.
and then so,
For monthly services.
yep. And so,
I think we need to stay consistent with basic services. Monthly, being paid monthly for basic services.
And Mayor, my question mainly for Zach, how often or estimated time that we'd use a paralegal?
Very little, mostly just on special projects, litigation, where I just need help with the research and writing and getting things filed with the courts and stuff like that. General services, I don't foresee that being used much at all.
Okay.
okay, are there questions?
Yeah, is a week enough time for another council to review this, Tim?
I would believe so, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Regular.
Regular?
Yes.
Okay, discussion on T-hanger. lease agreement between the Village of Ruidoso, Sierra Blanca Regional Airport, and Clint Skeen for Bravo 10T hangar beginning on July 12th, 2021. Mr. Kay, how are you?
Good, Mr. Mayor. How you doing, council? How's everybody doing? This is just a standard T-hanger agreement. Nothing new, nothing special with it. Just a standard agreement that we have for all people that rent our T-hangers.
And this is, will bring it down to just a few that's not had their lease renewed? Or is this?
The T-hangers are ongoing. The land leases are the ones that Mayor Pro Tem
that's right.
Salas asked about, was the land leases, and we have a couple of those that need to be renewed. And we have dates on those. I have a calendar of when those get renewed, so we're working on those. And once they all get renewed, everything will be up to date on those.
Okay. Anything else, anyone?
Consent.
Consent?
Yep, consent.
Okay. Item number 5 is discussion on appropriation grant agreement number A21G110 with the State of New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Capital Outlay Department to purchase new fitness equipment for the Ruidoso Community Center in the amount of $16,521.00. No one asked a question. Do any of y'all on the council use that stuff, the equipment?
Some of it I did prior
When you had it.
prior to them receiving it.
Okay, because I just was noting it was,
So I know that the equipment they have is used.
okay. I was just wondering, because it was talking about the aging and long-term services, and I know y'all been accused of being a bunch of old parts that are way out of touch with this community. So I just want to make sure that y'all are aware that these services are available to you too.
Those are available.
Yes, Shippen and I at least try to make it once a week. We start out with 2 times a week, but that food they cook there is too tempting.
You can
Just
smell
bypass
it.
the exercise and go straight to the food, so.
Okay, Sir Anthony.
Okay, Mayor Crawford, members of the council. Yes, the grant agreement is for the purchase of new equipment, fitness equipment inside the community center. A lot of the equipment we have there is used and pretty much hand-me-down equipment that we've just been donated. So this grant will replace a lot of that equipment there to make it more modern and a lot more safe for the people that actually use it. So other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
Mr. Mayor Anthony, I'm all in on this, but what kind of equipment is it? Is it treadmills, bicycles, those kind of things, stationary bikes?
Councilor Jackson, yes, there's going to be some treadmills purchased with it and maybe some ellipticals and some actual weightlifting equipment.
Okay, good job on this, by the way.
Yes, very good. I know that equipment, some of that equipment came from Alto Lakes Country Club to the Boys and Girls Club to you, and so it's been used. So getting some new equipment, much more efficient and up-to-date equipment is going to be great over there.
Yes, Councilor Coughlin, the equipment we're donated by Boys and Girls Club has been utilized a lot. So
So it's time.
it's and it's brought more attention to the items that we do have there. So it's been great having what we do have.
Okay.
I like regular.
Regular?
I could go consent.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just,
to publicize it more.
that's what I was thinking.
It gets hidden in the consent.
Okay.
Good job on the grant.
Thank you all.
Mayor, and I just want to recognize Anthony as well, that, he's been putting a lot of effort into, the grant writing and fund and managing the grants himself and whatnot. So great job, Anthony.
Good
Appreciate
job.
that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's starting to really show. Okay, item number 6, discussion on contract for public transportation with Zia Therapy Center to provide public transportation within the Village of Ruidoso in the amount of $5,459.30 for fiscal year 2021-2022. And this is Anthony Montez, and with him are the folks from Z-Trans, Joe, and I can't see that far, I'm sorry. Hi there.
Sharon?
Sharon.
Yes, Mayor Crawford, members of the council. Yes, this one here is for the okay, yeah, it is the contract for year 2021, 2022. The contract, it is only, we're only budgeting the amount of $5,459.30 because Zia Therapy Center has received funding or is going to receive funding from ARPA and the CARES Act, from what I understand. So, so the amount is going to be a little lower this year, but it's going to be for this year only. And I can let Joe Harden from Zia Therapy Center elaborate more on that item there.
Mayor, and that acronym is the American Recovery Plan.
Okay.
That's what he's referring to.
Good morning, Mayor, council
Morning,
members.
Joe.
Transit Director Z-Trans, and actually I'm going to pass the buck. I'm going to let Sharon talk about it because she's the financial officer.
Good morning, Mayor Crawford and council members. Thank you for having us here. Basically, yes, this year for fiscal year 21-22, which begins on October the 1st, the responsibility for the village this year is going to be $5,459.30. And it's because we received the ARPA grant, as Anthony said, and there's CARES remaining money. Now, DOT is going to use this money in operations only, and it's going to fund 92.94% of operations. Now, normally we don't bill out 100%, so this is worst case scenario. We may not even bill the complete amount out, but this will be for this year only. Next year, we're hoping, like last year, because last year admin and operating were funded completely, and the village didn't have any liability. This year, they're responsible for the total admin, which is $1,924.61, and the operating budget of 7.06 that you would be responsible for is 3534.69. That totals a 5459.30. Now, in your financial commitment letter, you put in 51,986.11, but we didn't have to spend that, but you obligated it. And so that's this year's contract, and you will be seeing a contract for the village that will have the 5954.30, although we say we like you to keep budgeting the 51,986.11 because next year it goes back to normal again.
We hope.
We hope, yes.
Minimum wage goes up again in
Do you
January.
have any questions on this one here?
Nope. I think everyone pretty much understands.
So the commitment for the 51,000 is for what fiscal year?
It was supposed to be for this fiscal year.
For this one.
Yeah, for this one. But because of the COVID is still with us in the pandemic, the President Biden committed the American Rescue Plan Act, the ARPA Act, and transportation received funding under that act. And NMDOT decided to go ahead and use it under operating because it's not as much as the CARES money we had.
Correct.
And so it's being used under operating for 94.92%, which is like $1,127,000.
I got that. The reason why I asked that, Mayor, is because I'm looking at a letter dated August 9th, 2021, that we're making a committed funding at $47,648.81.
Yes, that is for fiscal year 22-23.
Okay.
Which we are
So-
actually submitting an application this month, August 27th, it's due for that year. So we have to have a financial commitment letter ahead of time, which, like I said, is not a binding contract, but it's obligating just so NMDOT can get a picture of what they need to give us in our budget. Because as you know, NMDOT, the federal monies is a match. The operating is 50-50, so when you put in 50%, it draws down 50% from federal monies. And then on the admin side, you put in 20% and it draws down 80% of federal monies. So
Okay.
we will need that commitment. And I was able to, at first I put in just without going over the budget, 52,000, but I was able to contact our program manager up at NMDOT, and we were allowed to take a salary out of operating and reclassify it into the admin budget, which made it a 20% match for the partners instead of a 50% match. And then I went in, and Joe and I reworked the numbers, and on the fuel, we budgeted 250 days Well, there's 260 days in a year. We have 10 holidays, which is the 250, but now we also have 2 unpaid days, which is Christmas Eve and the day after Thanksgiving. So we were able to take 2 days out of fuel to lessen that, to bring it back down to the level of the 2021 year.
Good, very good.
What's the date on that letter you're reading there, Raffle?
August 9th, 2021.
Your council meeting, we're hoping that you approve this at your council meeting on the 9th. And so we can have that financial letter of commitment.
That's the next
But just
agenda.
because it's committed,
I know, but it says, it's been adjusted, okay. I see.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
All right, so everybody understands item number 6?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, it's the grant, so do you want that on regular or consent?
yes, regular, or I would vote for regular.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll move on to item number 7, same actors. Discussion on letter of commitment, financial commitment to Zia Therapy Center for fiscal year 2022-2023 to provide public transportation within the village of Ruidoso in the amount of, and it's been modified to say, $47,648.81.
You don't have
Yes.
to repeat it all, Anthony and stuff, but my question will be, what are the other communities contributing? I guess going back to Sharon on, that theirs
Right.
get lower or like ours or?
Well, with the city of Ruidoso Downs and the village of Ruidoso and Mescalero Apache Tribe are putting in the exact same amounts.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
And you were able to make contact with the Downs and everyone to do your presentations?
yeah, that's the meeting at 11:30 here. The Downs is going to come in and, we need to talk to them because I did send them the financial commitment letter and, they wanted to have a discussion and stuff. So we have the 11:30 meeting today
Okay,
on that. And we did we talked to Mescalero Apache Tribe actually on Friday. And we got their okay, their buy-in, they're good with it and stuff, so.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on why we're doing what we're doing? Nope.
Can I add one thing?
You sure can.
Okay, yeah, so basically we have 2 separate items, what we need. We need which number 7 is the letter of financial commitment for 22-23 in the amount of the 648.81. And then the second item is the contract amount. The contract amount is, like I said, 5459.30 for this year, the starting, 21-22, October 1.
6 and 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody got it?
Yep.
So regular?
Yes.
Regular.
Okay, number 8, discussion on road closure request of the outer lanes in the Midtown District for Ruidoso Adventure Tour Expo on August 21st, 2021, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I've received so many wonderful comments and appreciation for this endeavor. So, Rodney, it's good to be back from vacation. I'm glad that you're back. I don't know if you're glad, but we're glad you're back. And so will you explain it to us, please?
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor and Councilors. So the plan was to host the next Ruidoso Adventure Tours weekend in the Midtown area. The plan would be to bring additional activity with music, vendors, and offer each of the individual businesses that are in Midtown to offer them space outside their building along the sidewalks. The plan would include closing of the outer 2 lanes through the district. Some of the areas would be designated again for vending space. Some would be for some on-street parking for like some of the tour vehicles, whether it be motorcycles or we actually have, as part of our adventure tours, we have like a car show, a People's Choice Award an area where we would display some of the prizes. We have music associated with that event where we would set up a stage and a seating area, a fenced-off area that would also could accommodate an alcohol sales in that area. Let's see. I think I'm missing anything.
How's the vendors going to be picked for that?
So again, the plan would to be offer each and every business in that area some sidewalk space. If there was available space in the district that wasn't being occupied by those businesses, we would solicit outside vendors into the area and we would use our contact list from other events to offer them space. We would also offer space to the sponsors of each of the individual prizes. So the Zia Motorsports, Sierra Blanca Motors, Rocky Mountain Supply, those type of vendors.
Okay, well, the next question is, I'll just repeat it from people. It's a huge weekend already. I mean, massive. That's the trials, All-American. So the businesses down there, have we gone and talked to them?
So
To get their buy-in?
To Kendra.
Okay, Kendra's the scapegoat.
I sure am.
Yeah, you can start squealing now.
I distributed some information last week, and I did get some feedback on that. I think that it's pretty basic to review that we typically stay away from this kind of thing because there is so much kickback from the businesses just based on why are you, condensing traffic or, making it harder to get through town when it already is hard through the summer when we have such a limited space anyways. And then it seems like I got about 5 direct
Assaults?
definitely.
Inquiries.
I think that some of those same people might have reached out to y'all, so we might have same crossover.
It always is, yes.
Sure, and so with that in mind, I personally only heard back from about 5 businesses. The businesses that I directly went and talked to, we discussed putting a stage in the Christmas area right there with the Christmas store and the kitchen store. Both of them were like, oh yeah, sure, I'm coming to work that day, no matter what y'all do. And that was kind of their attitude, sure. And then, but those, that group of probably, let's say, 5 that directly reached out and said, I really don't like this plan, I really don't like that plan. That is consistent. I think that they're gonna consistently object this plan no matter what way we present that and so with that in mind, there are 100 businesses in the district, and with only 5 continuing businesses that say, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. I mean, I do absolutely have respect for those businesses, and I want to cater to them, but it is hard to be progressive doing the same old thing. With a reminder that, yes, we know how Midtown feels about having the traffic shut down anytime. We considered a bunch of options. There's 4 lanes of traffic that run through Midtown. If we shut down those 2 outside lanes and offer direction for reroute around Midtown, which we never typically do. You see the locals drop off down Eagle and jet through Rio or go up Wingfield and move around, which, yes, we know those locals also complain about the same locals speeding through those areas during this time frame. But if we offer direct reroute options, not a detour, we don't want people to detour Midtown, but a reroute option, we would actually be offering 6 lanes of traffic through Midtown that weekend when we would normally only have the 4. So if we condense traffic down, it is gonna vibe up the street fair energy or idea or whatever on the street that
Atmosphere
week.
for the.
There you go, on the street that week. It will do that. And I'd like to point out that we have, let's say, maybe 20,000 visitors in town that weekend, and those 20,000 people, they come and see us regularly. They might drop in and out of their favorite store and spend maybe 30 minutes in Midtown. And this kind of activity actually might promote them to spend 2 or 3 hours in Midtown instead of just popping into their favorite store, buying wine and cheese, and then, getting back out to their normal, regular scheduled activity. So those are where that's the information that I have for you. I did reach out to the district. I did get some extremely negative feedback, but we know how those people feel about this. I would say as an overall, we have to remind that there's about 100 businesses downtown. And if it's those same 5 businesses that keep objecting, I mean, you know, they're not the ones that show up and put Easter eggs out, and they're definitely not the ones that, you know, go out of their way to make sure that the other businesses are having, you know,
Success.
or energy activity and stuff like that too. You know, things that were considered like by the board and by the few people that maybe even were like, okay, this might be a good idea, was how do we spread that love all the way through Midtown? So we carefully considered that we would have, there'll be music all the way down to Tall Pines, because Tall Pines is gonna naturally have some kind of music going that weekend, being a Saturday anyways. So we're not messing with or interfering with any of the existing businesses. So there'll be music all the way down at Tall Pines. We move up the block a little bit further. We'll have music and alcohol at Quarters and WPS in that middle block. And then if we spread that down a little bit further with this kind of event activity, we can actually offer music and alcohol on the 3rd block all the way down, kind of just enriching the whole entire district that day for just a couple of hours. So that's what I have for you all to consider. You know, I'm on board to see, you know, it happen one way or another. We definitely don't want to disappoint the people, but we don't want to, you know, disrupt them too badly either. But I sure do like it whenever, you know, we get those outside, you know, let's say those 10,000 people that come to Rios and go, oh man, this is just like Fredericksburg, you know, when they shut down the street over there and stuff like that. So it's an idea that we also join that kind of seems to be normal activity in other towns. So that's what I have for you guys, but if I can answer any questions while I'm here, please let me know.
Mayor, I've got a question.
You bet.
I think it's a great idea. How long will it take? I noticed it's 2 p.m. to 10, which that's pretty nice because at least in the mornings, but how long is it going to take to reroute, to set up things? Is it going to be an all-day, we're only going to have 2 lanes?
That is a very good question. Matter of fact, when we had a follow-up meeting, we thought of that. And so actually, just firsthand, in preparation, we submitted an application to the Department of Transportation to close the road. It was tentatively approved, of course, upon your all's review, but it is approved on their behalf. But because we realized, I mean, you know, we're looking at the activity happening from that
10 to 2.
10 to 2, but the setup
Or 2 to 10.
to beat the traffic is we need to be there at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
In order to set up cones and barricades and make allow vendors and businesses to set up on the sidewalk. So it would be, you know, that 6 to 6.
Got it.
Okay, this is the question. What are you going to do with the carriage, the buggies?
I thought about that. I'm not really sure about this, but I was gonna ask you, because naturally the carriage would already be operating that weekend, and it kind of condenses traffic down to 3 lanes moving in and around.
I'll hear about it every weekend.
What if we shared that closed lane with the carriage? He probably makes only about 25 trips through town throughout the whole entire day. We know that Rick has good control over those horses. Those horses are 20 years old. They've been doing this job their whole lives. I think that it would be plausible that we shared that open lane with or that closed lane with the carriage that weekend, which would mean it wouldn't be interfering with traffic at all.
So what's going to be in that closed lane? I thought we were going to have businesses or foot traffic.
I think that that's what we just the idea of having the lane closed is that it's extended foot traffic space so that, you know, having a table out on the sidewalk, that there's just room, there's just that additional room. So I understand that's a conflict.
So it's only foot traffic in the closed lane, or are you gonna have vendors setting stuff up in the closed lane?
We are not going to put vendors or anything in the lanes. The vendors and such are only gonna go in those cutout parking spots.
Okay.
So the lane will be open. I think we haven't clogged or put the lane anything. It's only extended available space, kind of making it a safer atmosphere for the vendors, the pedestrians, and this street fair atmosphere.
So what's the width of the lane, not including the cutout for the parking? And then what's the width that the carriage is gonna require? Because I'm looking at it, And that carriage is kind of wide, takes up most of a regular lane. So now you're really coming down to, what, a 2 or 3 foot section, that pedestrian traffic as that carriage is trying to squeeze through everybody?
So I thought about that as well, because like I said, it's kind of a conflict. It's like a good idea, but it's a conflicting idea that maybe we could even possibly work out some sort of like a carriage escort that day. That we could have someone dedicated to escorting the carriage that day for possible, like, the carriage is coming through. Like I said, Rick has good control. These are all just ideas and valid concerns that we have all strongly considered. One thing I want to mention, just because my brain remembered it right now, was that parking is always an issue. And anytime I feel like we're addressing the issues at hand, which was like you're condensing the lanes of traffic that day, but then offering a reroute, which is actually increasing lanes of traffic that day. We address the parking as well. Rodney's gonna offer up the annex and all the way up Center Street. So he's even able to line out that area to like provide visible parking as well as signage. And we'll regain those cutout parking spots just right there on Center Street, as well as open up the lot next to the hotel over on Grindstone. And we can probably come up with almost another 100 parking spots there as well.
So the obvious question to me that I haven't heard anybody talk about is, why not Wingfield Park? I mean, that's what Wingfield Park was designed for, was all these special events, especially during the summer. I mean, yeah, I can see how people are going to be upset about constricting traffic, and now for some of those businesses that have parking lots that are accessible from the road, when you have that lane of traffic closed, or the down by Tall Pines, how there's that alleyway that goes back and behind those businesses, that's going to be pretty much shut down because you're shutting down that outer lane of traffic. So why not Wingfield Park? I haven't heard that brought up at all.
So, part of what I have seen with the vision of the entire tours is to bring energy and visitors to the entire area, to the whole county. And this would be an extension to, and we've tried to include different businesses throughout the area. And, we mentioned some of the sponsors that we have, Rocky Mountain Supply, Zia Motorsports, Sierra Blanca Motors.
But when you say sponsors, what else are they doing? We purchased all that stuff.
We did purchase them, but we're trying to also bring business to each of them. So some of the tour stops include businesses throughout the area, and by bringing it to Midtown, it also brings them additional foot traffic, and kind of helps our idea of getting them involved in the promotion of the tours, and which you don't get whenever you're in Wingfield Park. When we're in Wingfield Park, it's really it's the village of Ruidoso and a few of the select vendors that we have. This will bring more activity and getting the district more involved.
Plus, I've heard from businesses that, oh yeah, great, you have your stuff at Wingfield Park, but they're not walking the downtown. It takes away from our business.
Right.
So to me, this is, I'm kind of strange, I guess, but I think this is very energetic. It's fun. It makes me want to go downtown, which on any other weekend, on a Saturday, I want to stay at home. So I kind of look at it in a different way, that it's bringing everything to all those businesses. And I know there is a little bit of, it's hard for people to come and go, but it would make me want to go and stop and walk the area.
And I agree. I mean, I've been for a long time saying we need to do more in Midtown. We need to have that vibe and that feel with music and out there and bands playing or whatever to bring more people. But to me, I'm just thinking the timing's bad. Being in the middle of summer when we're already packed, maybe if it was after Labor Day towards, the middle to end of September, might be a little bit better time there. There was something, just like you said, something else was here and it just went.
Well, I had one other question, because I've been in Midtown when this has occurred. I'm not against the concept. I am definitely against the time, because on the trials, I mean, I think you're going to have people backed up into the circle in Upper Canyon, and I'll tell you why. They're not uncommonly, you'll have delivery trucks of Cisco, UPS, FedEx, and others. They will just need that lane to stop, and if they don't have an additional lane, that's it. I mean, you just stop traffic. Also, visitors aren't always savvy to how the street works, that it is a highway. They'll just pull over and stop and have conversations with friends, see people on the sidewalk. And I've seen that as well. And at least we had a relief lane that people could get into. So I think it's nice to focus on Midtown and that activity. But that weekend just is a bad weekend for this, I think, because of the trials. I mean, and the folks that are going to the trials are not going to Midtown. They won't. They're there because they have horses. They're there because of the betting, and also they're there because they want to see who's going to be in the top 10. So I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but the timing of this seems unfortunate, and the length of time with one lane each way seems to me it will be a boondoggle. I've seen at the other end of town on a race weekend like that, I have literally seen deuce and a halves go across the concrete medians down by Walgreens just to get into that left turn lane. And I just don't want a tragic event to occur on the sidewalk or on those lanes that are blocked. And again, I think the loss of parking and the congestion is a very real concern of mine.
I think that having a business down there for a long time, every time that we had an event at Wingfield, it brought business to a lot of foot traffic. It just brought more people to the area. So we always benefited. And the argument when we started this some years back was we found that to be contrary. The businesses were terrified it was going to pull business away from them and whatever, and the opposite happened. So I understand the concept, that I think that it can work. I have to agree with Dr. Jackson, because being down there on those busy days, the deliveries do come on Saturdays. You do have people that are stopping, trying to get in. You have merchants that are stopping, trying to get extra things in the stores. There's always a lot of confusion on a day like that because people are coming in, but there's other people that don't know. It is a huge weekend. That's what concerns me. And Dr. Jackson's right. I mean, last Saturday was crazy. I mean, there were about 30% more people in attendance out at the track than we don't even know where they came from. If people are in town, you can go to grocery stores on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're packed. And so when I talk to businesses and people and workers that are down there, the one thing I hear is fatigue. People are fatigued, tired, and I don't know who said it. I mean, I like the idea of later in the year. That's the only thing I hear. And then when I talk to businesses, they're not against the idea per se. You know, just the idea of change frightens and concerns them. But after they calm down and we talk about it a little bit, it's that their employees are tired, stressed. They're not sure some of them are going to show up. And, you know, that they just see this as extra stuff they have to deal with. Because there are going to be people here anyway. And so that's the only thing. I mean, I love the ideas of activity in Midtown. That's been a goal of a lot of folks for many years, and we're finally seeing some of those things. I don't know why we have to cram everything, it seems, into, and we know why, because people are here, businesses want to take advantage. We want to give the visitors, tourists, part-timers, everybody more activities to do, so they do go back to other places and say, man, I was in Ruidoso, it was awesome. So I applaud all your efforts, but I'm kind of like everybody over here. You know, I know we don't want to rain on your parade, but I hope you brought an umbrella, because it's just a hard decision to make on this.
Mayor, it sounds to me like we got the lane closure is kind of what it seems like a consensus of what moving forward with. But is it okay if we continue to look at opportunities, just like Kendra talked about, with of having a band on the opposite side of the district?
Absolutely. I think we should have, I'd love to have music down there, something going on all the time to promote foot traffic from one end to the other. I mean, I think that's great. What about we can talk to our police officers about traffic control because you're going to need it, I think, down there, trying to direct people to traffic. Even locals, when you pull up and you've got cones and stuff pointing in different direction, they have that split second, they got to think, wait a minute, what's going on? And then the new folks coming into town, they're not sure where to go. You know, those are the issues that I see, is that we need to have some traffic control, plenty of signage, wayfinding, all that good stuff.
You know, Mayor, and I did that survey, you know, for the recovery plan. And, you know, there are several businesses, they're talking about workforce, that was definitely the number one issue.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also talked about trying to expand out and not just, you know, expand that district. And there's been talks about that. You know, it's my understanding that the River Crossing Church may be looking at creating an event center type of deal. You know, is there opportunity maybe to look at this and try to expand that district a little bit more and maybe do some of the events there so that it encourages people to park in that area and then walk up? So is it okay if we continue to work on this and offer other type of activity in different areas to promote Midtown?
Well, I think that the council never wants to stifle thought process, creativity, or any of that. Do y'all agree?
Yeah. You know, Mayor, as I've looked at this issue, I think there's a lot of opportunities on how we can look at it, make some adjustments, and then apply maybe this concept to the motorcycle rally weekend or, you know, other weekends. We're talking about the end of this event, but it's just really exploring, you know, how we can do things to benefit the district. So, you know, I think the conversation's good. We can continue to modify that. Can we come up with a modified plan and then come back to council with a presentation that doesn't consider that lane closure in Midtown for that weekend? And, you know, one of the things that, you know, I want to put out there too, and this is just from my observation, normally when I've seen those big race weekends, and, you know, it's kind of reverse in the winter, in the morning, you have traffic going that direction very heavily. In the afternoon or the evening after the track lets out, it's coming this other direction. So is there a potential for maybe looking at one lane in the south lane and closing that down and trying to get that opportunity taken care of, and then maybe even providing parking down in some of that area for additional parking in Midtown for that weekend?
I got a comment, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead, Joe.
Well, I agree that this is definitely a busy weekend, but with your proposal there, you talked about estimating about 20,000 people coming into town. Ruidoso's experienced 40,000 people coming into town, and with the 4 lanes and also, but the sidewalks, the pedestrians handle that. So I'm certainly not against the event here, and I applaud you for forward thinking on this. But you did state that the lane closures were basically for pedestrian foot traffic, and that the vendors were only going to be allowed to set up inside of those cutouts for parking. Is there a possibility to rethink and just close off the parking to where the cutouts to where vendors could work in there, but still leave 4 lanes open, have your bands area, because it would still be the, you know, sure, it might be crowded on the sidewalks, but we've had more people in town and the sidewalks have handled it. So you could still have your bands, you're still basically the same thing. You just wouldn't have the 2 lane closures, but you still have your bands down there. You still have the cutouts for your vendors. And also, I haven't heard any discussion on the people on Rio, people on Wingfield, because anytime there's any kind of discussion of rerouting or more traffic in those areas, they usually
throw a shoe.
We usually hear from them. So is that a possibility to look at it that way to?
I think it's a great idea. I think we could accommodate it. So, because we really weren't, again, the plan wasn't really to extend out into that lane. The vendor space we're offering is restricted to those cutouts. So I think that, again, that even what Manager Dodge stated earlier about doing a modified plan and coming back and presenting that. But I think, you know, and especially if we have participation from property owners in the district, that's something that we could potentially do.
Sheriff, again, I don't think the district would be opposed to it as far as your business owners. In that sense, you'd have a lot more people that are, say, would be for it. It was just because of the safety issues with restricting the traffic flow, rerouting, and also the unknown variables that'll pop up with people not knowing where to go. And you're still looking at the same amount of traffic coming through there, I believe, just a safer environment, and you're still accomplishing what you're wanting to get done.
Yes, and just like on the map shows, we could get at least 70 spaces along Center Street. I kind of did a rough layout. I think if we're going to continue using the park in the meantime, before hopefully we develop it in the future, that we should probably stripe that area so we have a coordinated parking plan. We could at least get 70 on it there just alone on Center Street. And we have 63 on-street parking spaces in Midtown. So we can more than replace those spaces that we would be losing. And then if, as Kendra mentioned, if we open up the Mashburn lot, if you look at the map there, I mean, there's 50 spaces in the existing parking lot. We could add at least 100 more spaces in the Mashburn lot. And what we have done, the Parks Department, is like at Alto Lake and the Eagle Creek Sports Complex, is when we're expecting large crowds, we stripe the gravel parking lots. We could mow that lot and actually stripe it like we have those other places as well.
How compacted is the ground there? Are we going to get cars getting stuck? Especially given the weather we've been having, I don't know what it's going to look like on that weekend, but.
I would say it's pretty firm. In the past, we've had the carnivals in that area. The bigger.
In Mashburn?
Yeah.
And the bigger
That must have been a long time ago.
No, it was a couple of years ago.
Yes. The bigger consideration is there's some uneven ground.
Right.
But we can plan around that uneven ground and park them in areas that it's more stable and level.
Right, okay.
So how long would it take you to get that done, and do you have the money to do it?
So the mowing and weed eating, get it done in a day, and then the striping, another couple hours. Our staff has gotten really good at it, because there were times where we were striping out to lake that additional parking lot, like every other weekend. And so again, it's something that they've become accustomed to. We have the equipment. It's more labor intensive than it is costly. The paint is, not too costly to do that. But again, I think the benefit of having the additional parking way outweighs the labor and the cost.
I think the striping, if we look at it on a permanent basis, would be very advantageous, because every event that I've seen over there, people park willy-nilly, they end up being triple parked, and whoever's in the center gets stuck and can't get out. So that would definitely be something that would be good, not just using temporary paint, but, if we could do a permanent.
Are you talking about the Mashburn property?
No, over there at.
Center Street. On Center Street, that's still all the discussion on that master plan over there.
Correct, but in the meantime, get some striping in, and then other events that are taking place.
I thought that paint was pretty rare, because that's the last position I heard on it. Just a second, Joe, I'm going to ask you about your stops over there. So, yeah, I mean, what kind of paint are you using now?
So,
Watercolors? I mean, I was just wondering.
We do not purchase a lot of the street paint that you're talking about. I've heard that as well. But we have, we've used that athletic field paint.
Okay.
And there's ample supply of that. We have an order in right now for preparing for all of our fall sports. But just kind of referring to what Councilor Coughlin had mentioned. So right now, what currently happens is when we send out a request to the annex, to the water and sewer department, they're putting up cones and flagging, and it serves the job of keeping those alleyways open. But I agree, parking, we're gonna probably be parking in that area. If we keep continuing to host events there, it probably would something to consider on a permanent basis, and it'll look a lot more presentable than cones and flagging.
Now, can we hear from Zia Trans, Joe?
I've got a lot of questions because I haven't been in on this, but I do have an idea based on what I learned, because I've never been in on this. Midtown area is a straight shot, pretty much. If you're talking about choking down the traffic there, have you thought about, if you, not for this event, but for other special events, maybe having some type of trolley, like I've seen Farmington, Memphis, and other systems that do these events, it's an open air trolley that goes back and forth up that street. Because a lot of these people that come here also aren't used to the altitude. It's hard for them to walk uphill, not shaped like me, but it would be a good way to move people back and forth in that area.
Well, and we used to have a trolley company in here that didn't survive, but maybe on an event, just per event type thing.
Just that type.
Yeah, it would, maybe that in y'all's compromising proposal or whatever, that you maybe explore that option too, to see if there's, to go get people, we've always talked about that, running them from the parking lots down. Because you're right, it does get pretty winded walking up and down after you've had a few craft beers. That's what I've heard.
Just an idea for one.
Well, what's it gonna do for your bus?
Yeah, your pickups.
That's
If
what
we
I
close
thought you
off all your
were coming
parking
up to
areas.
say. You got 2 stops in Midtown,
That's
correct?
something we have to look at, but the proposal would be to actually offset that by doing something like this for an event. It would just be a peak hour type, okay, throw those on there, get your foot traffic back and forth. And our buses, they're too small, they're closed in, they're better off with an open air type thing, especially if it's on.
Well, we were just talking about your regular route.
Yeah, the regular route, I'd have to look at that.
Well, that's what, we thought
Yeah.
you were going to talk about is how lane closure would impact your pickups, because you couldn't very well stop in the middle of the only lane of traffic and load.
I think a lot of times we have to do that now.
Well, you got 2 lanes of traffic going though. Somebody goes around you.
Right.
The other way, you'd be it. You'd be the cork in the
Yeah.
bottle, and I can tell you what people do on their horns.
You'd be the new carriage.
Like I said, I've got more questions I have to get together. See what we could do.
So I-
Set off.
So I remembered what I was trying to say, and I typed it up. Not for you, Joe. It's probably more for Kendra. So, multi-part here, but have you been able to gauge the merchant participation? How many merchants would actually be willing to bring their inventory out onto the sidewalk? Because my concern is putting inventory out on the sidewalk is going to require additional employees, and the stores don't have enough employees as it is. The second thing is the event's going till 10 o'clock, but let's face it, most of those stores in Midtown are shut down well before that anyways. So does it need to be shut down till 10 o'clock? Because really all you're going to have is the bars and the music playing after 6, maybe 7 o'clock at the very latest.
Maybe it'd encourage some of the stores to stay.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I know
You can encourage all you want. I'm so happy when it's over. My employees are happy when it's over. They're dead.
if you don't have the manpower, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put any more gas in a car that, the engine's broke.
And I know speaking with Becky prior years, prior to this, they had been trying to encourage businesses to stay open later, especially during the seasons, and they just don't have the manpower or don't have the interest in doing that. So have you heard from any merchants as far as the interest?
Amazingly, it's like a double-sided answer there, is that I think that on every single block, I know that a good handful on either side, I mean, we're talking probably 10 or more on either direction, all are interested in participating if it comes together. And all of them are like, is this gonna happen? We wanna know, is it gonna happen? Because if it's gonna happen, we need a plan, but we don't wanna do it, we don't wanna be the only one to do it, are the neighbors gonna do it? And so amazingly, that is the same concern, is that kind of like, I noticed that like Michelle's she wants to participate because the businesses on either side of her wanted to participate. The same went for across the street. And so it's all kind of just in the planning phases that I think all these people are just kind of considering like, well, it would be, it's nice, the idea. I think everybody agrees that the idea of making Midtown like the destination versus Wingfield or versus the track is a nice idea, but the confirmation of, is it going to happen this weekend? Are the lanes going to be closed down, and are people going to participate? Like the vendors, putting outside vendors into Midtown isn't necessarily the priority. When whenever this plan was presented to me, I kind of more saw the benefit of offering the business owners a special opportunity, special privileges that day, and making Midtown the destination. The few businesses that asked me exactly the same question, like, do I have to participate till 10? You know, I told them all the same thing. I said, you know, you're gonna participate till you can afford to participate, or you have staff, or you have energy to participate. And I think that, you know, this is the first summer that I've been forcing myself to stay open until 7, and I'll be darned if I haven't had a couple of good $300 ringers around 7.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and so, but I noticed that I wasn't, you know, I've been in Midtown 11 years. I'm with Lynn. I was out of there at 6 o'clock. I didn't care how many people, I was exhausted. But for some reason, I've noticed the energy in Midtown shifting. I noticed that when I'm leaving, I noticed that there are several other places that are still open. And so I think it just depends. I think it depends on the business that day and, you know, traffic and staff and all of those contingencies coming together and working out to be a good day. Where right now, because we're in the planning phases of this, those are all everybody's questions.
Well, and I can understand their concern because we're talking 2.5 weeks, you know, and in my estimation, everything should have been finalized like a month at least in advance.
Yeah.
So it is getting close on time.
It is. It is a complicated timeline to try and utilize all of the traffic that is here during the summer hours and be considerate of, you know, seasonal and hourly and all of that combined. It is a complicated pie. So, yeah. But thank you guys for.
Thank you. So go ahead and work on it some more.
So is the plan then to work on it for the next week and then at the council meeting come back?
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
And then we're gonna have a week and a half to get it all together? Okay,
Yep.
interesting.
Dun, 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 dun. Because it will be busy. That's the horse sale, the All-American
Yeah,
Horse Sale.
horse sales.
I mean, yeah, one of the two. I can't remember which one it is, but, so there will be all those people flying in. The airport will be busy. There's no rental cars in town. So we'll need to talk to the police department to make sure they don't have people on vacay. That we have people that will be able to support traffic.
Mayor, you know, when we're looking at the various weekends, and I don't know if Sam can talk to this, but the analyticals show that this was one of the slower weekends, you know, and maybe historically, but I think things have really changed as well. You know, and, you know, one of the observations that I've been out, and so has Ron, almost every single weekend. To me, it appears that people are more spread out. And you look at Grindstone, you look at everything, but still the gross receipts tax and the largest tax is showing that it's very busy. So, you know, I think a lot of the activities that we've had have spread people out as well. So the additional offerings that the community has.
And we really want to take advantage of the tours with the people in town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I think probably that instigated this was the Riddles Adventure Expo. Since there were people in town, they really wanted to get that out to the public.
Yes, I just like to concur. The report that I ran for Rodney and his team to identify the weekends that they should host these events, this showed to be the slowest weekend of the month of August.
But slow in what? You're drinking from a fire hose to
The amount of people here in town.
Well, I understand that.
For the last 2
Comparatively
years.
speaking, people have told me that, you know, right now they're drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
You know what that means. And so when you say, and that was last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So what did it look like last year on that weekend? So I think everything's changed, and I'm not against it. I just want you to be prepared, and we need to honestly validate the 5 or 6 people's concerns, and then look at how you're going to modify it to lay any of those kind of fears, because you're not going to be able to do all of it, and there are going to be people not happy, and to move forward. And I think a lot of people will stay at the track, but those people usually have families that are not at the track. They're doing other things. And so the lake will be booked, I think, all of those things. And then if you're talking about having stops on the tourists, are you talking about like that? Is this the same weekend as the fun run?
Yeah, this is the same weekend as the fun run.
So where are you going to put people? Are you going to have stops in Midtown?
The last stop is in Midtown at Wind Place and Show.
Mm-hmm. So where are they gonna park? On the street?
Wherever they can.
Well, I mean, it's all those motorcycles, so.
Well, they're not going to be parking on the street because you're shutting down that lane of traffic.
That's things, I just want to make sure logistically we've looked at all of it. Yes, ma'am?
So specifically for Wind Place and Show, from Eagle to kind of about the Happy Trail store is specifically blocked off for that parking for whenever that event ends. And the other side of Midtown, is blocked off for the People's Choice Award. So that has been considered as a designated spot for
Directly
that.
across the street or at the other end of town?
Directly across, so that middle center of the Midtown District.
And the fun run, starts at 10 and ends at 6. So, bikes and cars, it's an all-vehicle fun run. So bikes and cars will probably be coming in, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. The last bike in or vehicle in is at 6. So,
Because the traffic will be letting out at the track right about 6.
Yeah.
And that's when that last hand will be pulled at 6. So.
Okay. Any other questions? So these are just all things that need to be considered and, what the alternatives are, how you're going to plan for those contingencies, and just so it looks like we've explored every option.
Mayor, and this is really started off as a discussion of how we can continue to, look at Midtown, work with the association, work with those merchants, start up the conversation. And, I think just like everything just kind of came together quite a bit faster, just like, Ron worked on that permit and it was issued the next day. And, normally that's a couple of weeks out, but they just, got it through quickly. But, I think we need to continue to identify, what weekends, throughout the year that we can plan events like this and how we can, spread out the activity and provide more opportunity and make sure people are coming in and having a good time. And I think we need to be aware of workforce as well, because, workforce is directly related to people coming in and having a good experience. We need to make sure that sponge is big enough for the community to absorb the activity and not come in and have a bad experience.
No, I totally agree with that, and that's kind of one of my concerns, because the fatigue I was talking about is the sponge is full, thing. So anyway, work on it, come back, because I don't think the council is definitely not against it per se. It's just it needs to be tweaked. And
Mayor, I just want to express that I really like the Kendra's attitude towards this and Sydney's and their aggressiveness towards trying to get things done.
No, I agree.
I appreciate that.
And we appreciate Sydney's husband at the lake. He was new, and I said, "Oh, well, who are you, man?" Because he's very professional and everything. And then when he said his last name, I knew it. So thank you for wrangling him in. I do that to my wife all the time. So, all right, moving on. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I have one last question for Rodney. You mentioned something about needing to shut down the streets pretty much from 6 o'clock in the morning for setup?
If we were going to stick with that plan.
Okay, because the permit says from 2 to 10. So are we stuck with the 2 to 10, or do we have to get a new permit to extend the hours?
Because we thought of that, we submitted a request to DOT to extend the hours. And
Okay.
again, they have approved that, again, but it's,
Okay.
tentatively based upon your all's final.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were okay with DOT. Okay, that's good, thank you.
Okay, so this will definitely be on regular.
Yes.
I just wanted to make one more statement that, and I talked to a couple of those people down in Midtown. There was a couple that called me directly, and, there was one that was very civil about it. But, that's the way to approach it from a civil perspective,
Sure.
You don't need to yell, scream, threaten.
No.
Those type of things, that gets inappropriate, and some of that was occurring, and I apologize for Kindred having to experience that, but, that's not the correct way to address things.
No, we saw that. We heard some name calling this last weekend, and we'll be addressing those things too.
I haven't heard anything about this, so.
No, about other things. People start going,
About other
calling
things,
names and
yeah.
whatever. Okay, so that'll be on regular. Item number 9 is we want to kind of move because we got other things happening. Discussion and presentation on infrastructure capital improvement plan, ICIP for fiscal years 2023. And we have public meetings on that, so go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, this is our annual resolution to update our ICIP plan to reflect the upcoming 5 years. We have had the directors weigh in on projects that they would like added or edited or deactivated because they're completed. Tomorrow here at the Horton, I'll have 2 public meetings to get input from our residents, and so it's been advertised on social media. We've hung flyers throughout town. It's on 1490 and our village website. So hopefully we get a good turnout and get some projects added. After the meeting, then we'll meet with the capital projects team and have them do their edits based on the budget and whatever they see needs to be changed on there. And I'll bring the updated list to you all for additions to the list Tuesday. And I'll get your all's recommendations, work them into the plan, and in September, bring the plan back for ranking and approval of the resolution to submit to DFA.
Those meeting times, what are they, 10 and 4?
10 a.m. and 4 p.m. I thought I'd try something new. I've done several 6 o'clock meetings and I haven't had a good turnout, so we'll try 4.
And yet people say you schedule it during the middle of the workday.
I listened to the radio station yesterday morning and, I actually appreciated how you all talked a little bit more about what the purpose of this is. And I think we need to do some type of campaign to really kind of reach out and inform people, of the opportunities for them to give input and what it really means. And, I think if you just hear infrastructure improvement plan and you have public input, I don't think that's a very good description.
Yeah,
I agree. It's a lot of blah, blah, blah.
Because what we discussed is this opportunity for people that have, wishes, dreams, or whatever, that they can bring them in and talk about them. And then we gave some examples of those things. I think we just need to put that out there because we always have people come up and don't know about it. How do y'all come up with these things? And this is how we come up with these things.
well, I think you and Ron did a nice job. I listened as well, and, ICIP means nothing to people listening, but when you do put it in a perspective of what, it's your dreams, what would you like for us to do? What would you like to see Ruidoso as? I think it puts a little different perspective. So I agree with Tim. I thought that was, you bringing up different scenarios.
Been wanting to see improvements in your neighborhood or in your business district, or,
Right.
like the lighting improvements, things that.
Right.
This is your time to give input.
Physical improvements.
Yeah.
Not just, we need to mow more frequently. That's not capital infrastructure.
I can get with Carrie today and ask her to do a push on our ad and put that in there. Would you like to see your street improved? Would you like lighting? Would you like
And I don't want to
water?
create the idea that you ask and it will be delivered. These are things that'll be discussed, and that will be put on like a what's the word, triage of sorts, things that are most requested, that are most needed, that type of thing, because we still hear about potholes, we still hear about streets that were, run down to nothing, that never were paved, that were supposed to be paved years ago. I hear that story a lot, so.
Yeah, maybe we can put something that's more meaningful to the everyday
Yes,
person.
that this is how
we'll
we
work on
get
that.
these projects, and give some examples, that we've done in the past, because it used to be water was number 1, 2, 3, 4, those kind of things, and so, we're able to get more to, I don't want to call it just quality of life, but, infrastructure things that affect them directly. So, okay, so we'll have that on regular, and then we'll go to item number 10. You're up again, discussion and presentation on draft of final zoning assessment of Chapter 54 land use rewrite.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Site Southwest will be joining us via Zoom. They've completed their assessment. We've gone over it with them as staff. They've met with the steering committee. They've held a public hearing during the Planning Commission meeting and had some input from the public as well as our commissioners that were present. And they'd like to bring to you all what they've discovered so far, what's been recommended, and this is just one of the steps in the process. We're not near the end. We're about, if I had to put a number, 50% complete.
Okay.
Samantha, on the mapping of all the zoning or affected areas or going in there, have them include the airport property.
That's right.
Because it's out there. I was looking at the map that you gave me a while back and stuff, and then I said, oh, we're not including because I remember all that land that was over there. They talked about that possibly being industrial zoning. I don't know what it's zoned now or what, but just at that portion.
That's true, since it's not.
So that
gets
way
left
it's
off.
in there.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, it's all looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, and then the thing that Counselor Cornelius was talking about at one time, that we need to, things that we've already passed on the ability for other housing, people to be able to rent parts of their property out or develop parts of their property. We need to really highlight those things. And I was looking at the different uses on the barriers to a wider variety of housing types, including multifamily and missing middle housing.
Metal structures, yeah.
Yeah, metal structures.
Yeah, metal buildings have changed a lot, so.
Well, that's a siding issue and
Yeah.
structural.
Well, yeah, but we don't.
can do those
But we
anyway.
don't allow those. It has to be covered
Siding.
with,
Well,
it has to be covered with an architectural detail or something, I forget.
Or it has to enhance the aesthetics
Permission.
and stuff like that, because we had an incident just this last week where a business had pulled permits on a structure, had done the structure, and then was finished wrapping it in tin. And then it wasn't aesthetically and whatever, so I know Samantha had to deal with that too. So anyway, I think this is a good part, and you say it's only about 50%?
Correct.
Okay,
So I'm-
so
I'm
we'll
sure-
have the discussion and the presentation to where we're at today. So that'll be on regular.
Yep.
And
so is the
then,
committee going to meet again, Samantha?
Yes, we'll be meeting with the steering committee a couple more times before the end of the rewrite.
okay, and then we'll move on, and we'll have on the mayor's portion, a reminder that the meeting is on Monday. Because William Thomas, Tom Batten, as we all knew him, there'll be a celebration live from Memorial, so we're going to do it. He was king of the
Proclamations.
proclamations. Thank you. It's left me. I don't know. That's being contagious right now, isn't it?
It's a good thing you're not up for secretary. I mean, you're.
Oh, that's true.
struggling with words today.
Just treasurer. Yeah,
Yeah.
put me in charge of
Just
county.
treasure.
Yeah, treasurer, no big deal. It's just money.
And that just tells you how hard my weekends are. It takes me all day Monday just to get my faculties together.
Well, you can get Representative Stapleton to help you on that.
Yeah, you know what? I hear she has a lot of experience with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll be doing proclamation, and hopefully you will all be able to attend on Tuesday.
Tuesday at 2?
At the convention center, right?
Yes, at the convention center, and I believe it is at 2. To go out
Mayor,
and see,
I believe it's 1 o'clock.
it's 1 o'clock,
Oh,
to see Juanice, and the family will be here, and hopefully a lot of our neighbors will come out to celebration live for remembering Tom. So anyway, that'll be happening. And Ron, what else do we have on the agenda?
Mayor, real quick on that, for that event, did we reach out and see if there's a need for a proclamation or the Class A uniforms or anything like that?
Oh, no, but that would be awesome if we could have Class A representation out there from the fire department and
Is there a
the,
contact for the family that maybe we can call, or if you'd like to extend that, Mayor?
yeah.
Would you like to extend that invitation, or would you like one of us to call?
I would like one of y'all to call, because I got plenty on my schedule this morning. I will forward you some phone numbers. And probably will be the Hutchisons. Sue seems to be coordinating a lot of different things. So do you have Sue's number? Okay.
For you yesterday, so I have it in my desk.
She did?
Yeah, I sent you a text message. You got it from a random number because my phone's broken. I don't get my new one until tomorrow.
Well, I received a new phone, and I'm still having some difficulty, but I don't see anything on here.
I have it right.
Unless you're offering to give me a business loan or,
No, that wasn't me.
Your car warranty?
352-2665, right?
yep,
I texted you yesterday, so that would like you to call me.
I missed it.
I get texts sometimes 3 days later.
Well,
And even, well, phone messages are usually within the day, but that evening or something like that when they pop up. And
no, I don't see anything. Oh, emergency number. Okay. All right.
Mayor, under the manager's report, we had talked about getting Rodney to give an update on Grindstone and the revenues that came in during the budget.
Yeah, with all the
meeting.
rain and everything.
Yeah, during the budget meeting, we breaks up the year, so I wanted to get Rodney to come in and give a clearer picture. In addition to that, now at this last part of the year, I think we need to consider maybe using that campground for its intended purposes.
The what?
The campground.
Oh,
We haven't utilized that. It was intended to be used for parking. But I think we need to open up that opportunity and give people an opportunity to utilize that facility.
do we have a camp post available?
We would have to seek one.
Okay.
There's probably a lot of people who would jump on that, free rent.
Yep. Okay.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, just some other items that we have on the regular meeting on August 9th on Monday is just approval of, there's meeting minutes from several meetings that we've had, the regular and workshop and special meetings. We also are rescheduling the public hearing, this ordinance 2020-03, and this was with the fire prevention and protection. We have introduction of new employees. We do have a proclamation for former Mayor Tom Batten. We have employees of the quarter, reports from all village departments, presentation of the Citizens Police Academy by Chief Chavez. We have an update on Wingfield Park project. We do have also the Grindstone revenues update that Tim just mentioned from Rodney. An update on the White Mountain and Wingfield master plans.
Okay. Do we have any items today for closed session?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, also, some of the guidance has came out for the rescue plan. And, I'd like to see if maybe you'd be interested in sitting down with me and maybe a couple of counselors so that we can make some recommendations on how we approach the use of those funds.
Okay. Because I've spoken with a couple of mayors that have supposedly received a partial check already.
We've received half of the money already.
Okay. Of the 1.8?
1.9 something.
Okay, 1.9? Okay.
And there's a whole list of opportunities and so, I'd like to sit down with a couple of
Okay, we
counselors.
just need to get on the schedule and see if we can do something.
Is there a couple of counselors that you'd like to ask to participate with that, Mayor?
Let's see, who would do the least amount of talking? Coughlin's out. Joe. Whoever has the time and the interest. Joe, yeah, we'll put Joe in there. He doesn't.
Joe, he doesn't
At halftime, I can't hear him anyway, so. I'm looking at, are you talking about today or tomorrow?
Whenever, Mayor, we got 2024 to, expend the funds, but
Couple days.
I'm just saying that because I thought it was kind of funny that they.
Why wait?
That they put out such a, first it was recovery plan, the money's gonna be, coming out in January, and then we finally get the guidance now, and then they put in there, we have to have it spent by 2024. This is something too urgent.
I mean, if somebody's available tomorrow, I have a few hours. I'm gonna, we have the the group conference for the TRD thing. I don't know how long that's gonna last. And then the ICIP will, so if,
I don't assume that's gonna last long because it looks like there hasn't been a response, so.
right. So if someone wants to get together, what do you say, what do you think, tomorrow at 11?
Whatever works for you, Mayor. I'll
Is there any
accommodate
council members that would
everybody's
like to be at that?
I'll go.
Yeah, I'd go.
You'll
I'll
do?
defer to Tim if he insists.
No, for some reason I have there's like a black spot right here. I just see. So we'll have Councilor Jackson
Didn't really want to
and
think
then
of
Councilor Cornelius at 11?
11
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I think we can only meet with.
Yes, is that available? I need to find that out because I've showed up for meetings and there's already meetings going on.
Ron, and if you can you send the two counselors and the mayor I guess we could send it to all of them, and then we can make recommendations on that. But there was this category spreadsheet that we got at the Manager Association, and there's the guidance that was sent to us from DFA out of the,
One Donnie gave to us.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's a
Yes, sir.
long document, it's out of the Federal Code of Regulations, but,
Tim, I got to ask a question. This may be a Zach question. They were talking about on the marijuana.
Your thing went off.
Having the same as alcohol, you can't be within 300 feet of a school or a church.
daycare, churches weren't included.
Yep.
They didn't.
So daycare is included then?
Daycare and school.
Okay, that was the
Church.
question. If it wasn't a school, but it was daycare.
Daycare and school was included in the bill.
Okay.
No church.
So you can be within 100 feet of a church, 50 feet.
Okay.
Might be the
Thanks.
church.
They excluded them. Yeah, it talks about being within, the areas that we can, set, it's not more than 300 feet, so we can set less than 300 feet of a daycare or a church, daycare or a school. And then, they went in and they've had discussions back and forth about, well, what if a church has a daycare in it? Well, is it a licensed daycare? So there's discussion that went on in regards to that, but the rules should be coming out. I think the next hearing is the 22nd, August 22nd. The rules will define some of what they're considering a church and not, a daycare. Not a daycare, and what a school is and what's not a school and whatnot, so.
Okay. Do we have anything else to cover?
Mayor Crawford, do you have something on your calendar tomorrow at 11?
I just put it on there.
Oh, that's this meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
I put on there, recovery meeting, 11, yeah.
Here.
That was just, here, it's good. So if there's nothing else, then we need a motion to go into closed session?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into closed session for discussion of limited personnel matters citing 1015-1H2 and MSA 1978. Item 2, discussion subject to attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 1015-1H7 and MSA 1978. And finally, number 3, discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 1015-1H8 and MSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please, Ron.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Okay, we'll now be in closed session, so all those tuned in on YouTube, we will have to excuse you.
Do you need anybody from Zoom?
Mayor, if we can ask Cheryl, Chief Chavez, Zach, and Judy to stay in.
Okay?
Judy thought she was done. Can we take a 5-minute break?